Hello and welcome back to Writing 101, Episode 9. Who is going to read my stories? This question depends highly on what you plan on doing with those stories. There are a number of things that you can do based on kind of what you plan to do, what your overall goal is. Since this series is not based on someone who desperately wants to publish alone, this is also just kind of a general how to write series that doesn't necessarily focus on publishing. There are a lot of options. If all you want to do is get your stories out of your body and onto paper and enjoy them yourself, then you can absolutely keep them to yourself. This can be very rewarding. A lot of people, even if they don't write only for themselves, do keep a journal. Journals can be very cathartic. There are a lot of reasons to write without having a publishing goal. So if your goal is not to publish and your goal is not to share, then you absolutely can save it just for yourself. The next option would be to write them for your friends and loved ones. You can absolutely write and only share it with the people you want to share it with. You can even publish it and only offer it to those people. You can just publish it, buy your copies, give those to your friends and family, and call it done. There are like 100 ways that you can make your own set of copies of a book and never have it released publicly. If you go and publish your book, there are probably a few outcomes. What is possible is not necessarily what is likely. So while some of these things are possible, they're not necessarily likely, and you can't really cling to hope, especially with one book, that you're necessarily going to hit any of these goals. If you're going to just publish it on Amazon, throw it up there and leave it alone, you are likely going to not sell a whole lot. A few people will buy it, a few people will read it, they might enjoy it. The likelihood is that it won't go beyond that. You might get a steady stream of 1 or 2 sales a month, but that's not a high enough percentage of people reading it that you're going to really be making any money. It's also possible no one will read it at all. Sometimes you give a story to someone or you give a book to someone and they never actually pick it up and read it. You have to be comfortable with the idea that you might not sell any. You might not get anyone to read it. You might have trouble getting people to do reviews and to do things like that. Selling books is not easy. Knowing that you might end up with a lot of readers or no readers is really important. You could, in theory, blow up and have a ton of people read it. That comes with its own set of problems. If you have a large following, especially on a single book, you're going to have a lot of people who are negative about you being able to write a second book, who are negative about the first book, who are all over your social media, calling you names, threatening you, doing those kinds of things. And you have to be prepared for that as an option. If you're putting yourself out there, both good and bad attention are possible. Another option is that it could be a surprise smash hit. You could turn into the next 50 Shades of Grey. You could sell the movie rights. You could make tons of money. But that's probably not going to happen. Those kinds of things are few and far between, and you cannot count on yourself having that kind of a response, especially not to one book. While you might make a living writing, expecting to be some sort of prolific writing god, some sort of widely celebrated, hugely rich and famous writer, the chances of that are pretty low. And it doesn't have to do with your skill, it doesn't have to do with your ability. You have to have a strike of lightning in the right moment, in the right place, for you to be that person. Don't get your hopes up that that's going to be what happens. It is realistically unlikely that that's going to happen. The most likely outcome, if you publish some books on Amazon, is that you'll sell some books on Amazon. Some people will like them, some people won't like them. You might be able to make a living at it, but you just have to kind of manage your expectations. You might think this is going to be a smash hit, and you find out that everyone hates it for some reason. That's not something you can necessarily control, but it's also not something that you can afford to not be prepared for. So just keep in mind that reviews can be really ugly and really mean, and if you're not prepared for that, you really might want to consider whether or not you need to wait to publish, or maybe you need to take some time and work on your craft, or maybe you need to share with other people first to see how they feel about it. But it's really important that you're 100% comfortable, if you are going to fully publish, with the fact that human beings are pretty nasty and they very well might treat you badly. Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and for watching. I hope this wasn't the biggest downer in the whole universe. Let me know down below if you have any other ideas for where you might share things, what you might do with those things. I hope to see you guys all in 2 weeks for the next episode. Don't forget, next week, Wednesday night, we will have the next AuthorTube New Tubers video where you can go and find a bunch of new AuthorTubers. Down below, you will find my Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Tumblr, and my Patreon. Please go and check all of those out. Every other Wednesday night, the night that I do AuthorTuber videos, I am on Extreme Drowess over on twitch.tv/PlasticAgePlays. That is a D&D adventure taking place in the Underdark. It started as an all-female game, but we have had a regular guest on who is male, but we are all still drow, so you can come check that out. I hope you guys really enjoy it. See you all in 2 weeks for the next Writing 101 video. Have a wonderful week and good writing. Bye.